Just for You, a novel by Kennedy Brown. Synopsis. Yo, so this is the real deal about what happens when you think you've grown and some smooth-talking older dude makes you believe he's your ticket out the hood. My name is Dorothy Dottie Dandridge Barnes, I'm 17, and I messed up bad. It all started when me and my sister Nina went to check on our oldest sister Marilyn at college. Come to find out, sis wasn't even in school no more. She was out here living her best life working at this bougie gentleman's club called Mary's Place. I'm talking townhouse, designer bags, new whip, the whole nine. And honestly, I wasn't even mad. I was impressed. That night changed everything though. Nina got drugged and violated by some rich dude with connections, and instead of getting justice, my mama took $75,000 to keep quiet and even put Nina in a mental hospital to shut her up. That messed me up, not just what happened to my sister, but how everybody in my family just folded for that money. But me? I met Alan Kelly that same night. 27, fine as hell, pilot for a private jet company. He treated me like a queen, expensive restaurants, shopping sprees, made me feel seen. My mama tried to shut it down, talking about he was too old for me, but I was about to turn 18 and graduate. I felt like I knew what I was doing. So when Alan said he wanted to be with me, I left home. Straight up walked out and didn't look back. For 2 weeks, I was living the dream in an extended stay motel. We were together every day and night. I thought I found my person. Then I got pregnant. Alan acted all happy, gave me $10,000 to shop for the baby, took me to this exclusive rooftop restaurant to celebrate. I really thought we were about to be a family. But a few days later, ghost. Blocked my number, blocked me on everything. Gone. Come to find out, this man got a whole wife and 3 kids I didn't know nothing about. He just dipped and left me pregnant, broke, and basically homeless at 17. I had to get a job at that same motel just to survive. Now I'm working reception, pregnant, trying to figure out how I'm gonna raise this baby by myself. And the whole time, I keep thinking about how I treated Nina after she got violated, how I was so caught up in Alan and his promises that I didn't really have her back when she needed me most. Now here I am, about to be somebody's mama, too stubborn to go home and admit I was wrong, but scared I can't do this on my own. This is my story about learning the hard way that everything that glitters ain't gold, and some men will tell you exactly what you want to hear just to get what they want. Just for You is about the consequences of moving too fast with the wrong person, family secrets that hurt more than they protect, and what it really means to grow up when you got no choice, but to figure it out. Chapter 1. Dottie. Great expectations in 9 months. It's been 11 months since I walked out my mama's house thinking I was about to live my best life with Alan Kelly. 11 months since I chose a man 10 years older than me over my own family. And now look at me, belly big as hell, working a front desk job at Down Home Extended Stay, the same motel where Alan used to lay up with me before he found out I was pregnant and disappeared like smoke. I should have known better. That's what everybody gonna say when they find out. You should have known better, Dottie. But when you 17 and somebody treat you like you matter, like you special, like you the only person in the world, you don't think about what you should know. You just feel what you feel. Let me take you back to where this all started. The weekend me and Nina went to visit Marilyn at college. We was so hyped to see our big sister doing her thing, getting her education, making something of herself. Our daddy had been paralyzed in an accident, and things at home was tight. My brothers Carrie and Clark was trying to step up. We all moved into a bigger house together, and it felt like we was just starting to get back to normal. Mama finally agreed to let us visit Marilyn. We took the Greyhound up there, ready to see her dorm room and meet her college friends. Instead, what we found was that Marilyn had dropped out and was living in a whole townhouse with 2 other girls, Sonia and Arias. Designer clothes hanging in the closet, brand new Lexus in the driveway, expensive perfume on the dresser, all from working at Mary's Place. Mary's Place wasn't just some regular club. This was where rich men came to be entertained by beautiful women, where dates cost more than my mama made in a month, where the champagne flowed like water and everybody pretended like what was really going on wasn't really going on. Marilyn swore us to secrecy. And honestly, I wasn't trying to snitch. Not when I saw how good she had it. That's what I wanted, to not have to worry about money, to wear nice things, to feel like I was more than just another girl from Sunnydale Village who wasn't gonna amount to nothing. That night, Marilyn took us to a party at Mary's place. That's where I met Alan. I can still see him looking at me from across the room. Smooth brown skin, fresh cut, tailored suit that probably cost more than our rent. He walked right past all the grown women in there and came straight to me. Me, little Dottie Barnes, who never had nothing and wasn't supposed to be nothing. "What's your name, beautiful?" he asked, and I swear I felt like Cinderella at the ball. "Dorothy. But everybody calls me Dottie. Can I call you mine?" Corny, right? But at 17, that line hit different. This man, this fine, successful, grown man wanted me. He opened doors for me, held my hand, took me to Capri's Italian high-rise restaurant, and told me to order whatever I wanted. He picked me up to buckle my seatbelt in his Hummer because I was too short to climb up myself, and he did it so gentle, like I was precious. That night, I gave him my number. I didn't tell Marilyn or Nina I left the party with him. I just said I was going to the bathroom and slipped out. We was only gone for a couple hours, but in that time, Alan made me feel like I was the center of his whole world. When we got back to Mary's place, everything had gone to hell. Nina had been drugged and violated by Runyon Nesbitt, some small-time music agent with money and connections. Arias had set her up with him even though all the other girls knew to stay away from him. But Nina was young and impressed by the money, and Runyon took advantage. The only reason it didn't turn into a whole police situation was because Runyon's father-in-law was Assistant Solicitor Denton Wayne Pearson. They kept everything quiet, paid my family $75,000, and made Nina sign papers saying she wouldn't press charges. My mama took that money. Took it and made Nina promise not to tell Daddy who really hurt her. Then she put Nina in a mental institution for a month, told everybody she was getting help for her trauma, but really it was just to keep her quiet and out the way while everything got swept under the rug. I should have fought harder for my sister. I know that now. But at the time, I was so mad at my mama for selling Nina's pain for money, mad at Marilyn for bringing us into that world, mad at Nina for not fighting back harder, and mad at myself for not being able to do nothing about it. The only good thing that came from that horrible weekend was Alan. He texted me every day after we got back home. Sent me pictures of places he wanted to take me, told me I was beautiful, said he couldn't stop thinking about me. When my mama found out about him and tried to forbid me from seeing him because he was too old, I felt like she was just trying to control my life like she controlled Nina's. I was about to graduate high school. I was about to be 18. I didn't need her permission. So when Alan said, "Come be with me," I went. I remember the day I left like it was yesterday. Mama was in the kitchen, going on about rules and respect and my house, my rules. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Then I won't be in your house no more." I called Alan, he pulled up in that Hummer, and I walked out with just a duffel bag and my pride. For 2 weeks, I thought I had one. Alan put me up in this extended stay motel, down home extended stay, ironically enough, the same place where I work now. We spent every day together. He took me shopping, bought me clothes, jewelry, made love to me like I was the only woman in the world. I felt alive. I felt free. I felt like I was finally living the life I deserved. Then I missed my period. I took 3 tests and all 3 came back positive. I was pregnant. 17, no high school diploma yet, no job, living in a motel, and pregnant. When I told Alan, I was scared. Scared he would leave, scared he would be mad, scared everything would fall apart. But he surprised me. He smiled, picked me up, spun me around, and said, "We're gonna be parents." He gave me $10,000 cash, crisp $100 bills, and told me to go shopping for maternity clothes and baby things. He took me to High Rise, this exclusive rooftop restaurant, to celebrate our family. I ordered the most expensive thing on the menu and didn't even feel guilty about it. This was my life now. This was the life Alan was giving me and our baby. 3 days later, his number was disconnected. I thought it was a mistake at first. Called from the motel phone straight to voicemail. Checked his social media, blocked. Every single account. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, blocked, blocked, blocked. I went to the airport where he worked. Security wouldn't let me pass the gate. I asked them to call Alan Kelly, and they looked at me like I was crazy. Said they couldn't give out employee information. That's when one of the cleaning ladies at the motel, Renee, sat me down and told me the truth. Alan was married. Had been married for 6 years. Had 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. His wife's name was Yvonne, and they lived in a nice house in the suburbs with a white picket fence and everything. I was the side chick. The secret. The girl he kept blocked from his real life so his real family wouldn't find out. And now I was pregnant with his baby, with $10,000 that was supposed to last me, and a child for 18 years, living in a motel room that was paid up for 1 more week. Renee helped me get the receptionist job at Down Home Extended Stay. Said the manager owed her a favor. It don't pay much, but it's enough to keep a roof over my head and food in my stomach. The other girls who work here, housekeeping, front desk, the cook, they became my family. They threw me a little baby shower, helped me set up the crib in my room, taught me about WIC and Medicaid and all the resources I was gonna need. But every night, when I lay down in that bed with my hand on my belly, feeling my baby kick, I think about the choices I made. I think about how I disrespected my mama, how I wasn't there for Nina when she needed me most, how I walked away from my family for a man who was never really mine in the first place. I'm too stubborn to go home. Too proud to admit I was wrong. But I'm also scared I can't do this alone. Scared I'm gonna mess up this baby the way I feel like I messed up my own life. My name is Dorothy Dandridge Barnes. I'm 17 years old, 8 months pregnant, and about to be somebody's mama. And this is the story of how I learned that just because somebody says something is just for you, don't mean it's really yours to keep. Alan, you got your troubles, I've got mine. Had I known showing a young girl the finer things in life would end up with her trapping me with a baby, I guess I should have told her from the start that I'm married with children. But truth be told, Dottie was only supposed to be a one-night stand. When she decided to run away from home, I thought she'd get homesick and want to go back. But I wound up having to put her up in an extended stay. I had to lie to my wife, Trini. I told her I had to go out of town on business. I even faked it by having Trini and our 2 youngest children, Brisher and Aaliyah, drop me off at the airport. As soon as I kissed them all goodbye and promised to bring gifts after they left, clean out of sight, I rented a car and drove to Greenville to stay with Dottie. Hell, I would still go to work and come back to the extended stay with Dottie. It was great at first. But by the 2nd week, I found out that all those days I would pick her up from the Tri-City Community College campus and sweep her off her feet would result in her getting pregnant. And the way her eyes lit up whenever I pulled out my black card to buy her expensive clothing or took her out of town to Columbia for secluded dinners. I was only trying to flex to impress her at first. But I couldn't afford to wine and dine her much longer. I was taking money from my household with my wife and kids, the kids I wanted, the only kids I wanted. Trini would tear my heart out and throw it into the furnace if she found out about Dottie. And I was gonna make damn sure Trini didn't find out. See, I'll admit Dottie's not the first woman I cheated on Trini with. But the others knew the score. Dottie was young, so she had stars in her eyes about carrying my baby. I pretended to be happy, but I sat there with a fake-ass Joker smile, wait till they get a load of me, but I was secretly trying to find a way to trip her as she was taking a shower, or as she goes down the stairwell. But I thought of something else. I gave her $10,000 cash. I told her it was for her and the baby. I honestly thought she'd die with glee when I gave her that crisp, fresh cash. Her eyes got so damn big, she looked like Liza Minnelli. I played the part as long as I could. But Yvonne Katrina Trini Kelly is my wife, and she doesn't play. So I knew what I had to do. Any grown-ass woman would have taken that $10,000 after being ghosted and said yeetus to the fetus the moment they realized I skipped out. But not Dottie. Even after 2 weeks since she heard from me, found herself blocked from everything involving me, she tried to reach me. I blocked her. She tried calling from the extended stay. I blocked that number. She tried from other people's phones. Once I realized who they were calling for, I'd ask them to hold on, then hang up and promptly block the number. The airport manager, my boy Zealand, called to let me know a young girl called and came by looking for Alan Kelly. But my pilot profile and credentials have me listed as Stephen A. Kelly. Zealand understood my situation because he himself was in the same sticky situation a few years ago. Only difference is he divorced his first wife for the side chick, who was once a student at the community college he worked for. He also lost his job behind that shit and is utterly miserable. That wasn't gonna be me. I still keep an eye on Dottie though. I usually drive Yvonne's car since Dottie wasn't familiar with it. So I drive by behind tinted windows, and I found out that she took a receptionist job at the extended stay. But just like with Zealand, my other friend Charles is part owner of the place, and I make sure Dottie is good by sending Charles an extra $200 to add to Dottie's pay. But that's as much as I can and will do. I never asked her to leave home. She left on her own recognizance, without any suggestions or help from me. And I never lied to her. I didn't tell her I was married and already had a family, but she never asked. She saw that I had money, and that was all that mattered to her. I barely said howdy doody, and she was draped all over me like a velvet Prada robe. Young, dumb, and gold digging will pay a young girl's fare straight to nowhere. I see she's getting bigger by the day, but I can't help her any more than I already have. I mean, I'm sure once she drops that load, she can and will get down and get up. She'll be a more experienced type of gold digger. Nina. Not worth the emotion. I just stand in awe at the large acres, but knowing the history that came along with the property made me want to question my mama's sanity. Any attention she could get, she graciously accepted it, good or bad. It seems since Daddy's accident, she relished the praise and attention for being there for Daddy, taking care of him. And she smiled and hung her head at a humble angle. But I always wondered, why does she deserve praise for that? I mean, isn't that what she's supposed to do? In sickness and in health. She gets no medals from me. I mean, she's good to Daddy, but she doesn't do it alone. My two older brothers, Carrie and Clark, make sure Daddy gets to and from therapy, keep him shaved, showered, and smooth, as Daddy puts it. Marilyn, Dottie, and myself have always been Daddy's girls. And our two brothers have a great relationship with Daddy, but they're Mama's boys. They adore Mama, and to her, they can do no wrong even when they do wrong. Especially by some girl they're dating. It's always the girl's fault, although Mama knows her sons are gigolos from side to side. But I can say this about them. When Daddy had his accident, they both dipped into their 401 Burmese chots and moved us into a bigger house. We occupied the bottom, and they had the top portion renovated into 2 one-bedroom apartments for their privacy. But after the events that happened at Mary's place, or should I say when I hooked up with Runyon Nesbitt there, brother was fine. I mean Idris, Denzel, Brian J. White, Morris Chestnut fine, with a Chris Brown swag. And he had the bank account to match it. How do I know this? I paired my phone to his unbeknownst to him. When he used his phone to pay for the 2 dinners from Wingstop, I could see the balance showing on the black card. I won't divulge, but let's just say I knew I met with the right guy. I mean, I was a bit hesitant when he admitted that he has a wife and kids, but told me that if I played my part and stayed in my lane, I would never have anything to worry about. I agreed. And just like that, we stopped at an ATM. He withdrew $2,000, and he handed it to me. I knew I was in there. Never would I have thought I was within minutes from getting attacked and beaten, I mean beaten badly, and dumped in the parking lot at Mary's place. Luckily Arias had known who I left the club with. One of Mary's patrons was Judge Timothy Talley. He instructed Marilyn and Dottie, who just walked up out of nowhere, to get me downstairs to this lady named Josie. I was in pain, but I was glad that Dottie was okay. I had seen her sneak off with a smooth wolf in sheep's clothing, secretly married vibe. But accentuating the positive, eliminating the negative, and not messing with Mr. In-Between, the guy was handsome. And I saw him lift her up into a badass battleship gray Hummer. I was sure she had struck pure gold. Marilyn had no choice but to call our parents. Mom's mother, Grandma Sanji, stayed with Daddy, while Mama and my brothers came to see about me. I was prepared to give them my version of what happened. Scared, I fully intended to leave Runyon's name out of it as my abuser and sexual assaulter. I was gonna say I stepped outside and a guy started a conversation and turned very aggressive. But Runyon and a man, whom I found out was Denton Wayne Pearson, Runyon's father-in-law and assistant solicitor, showed up. And before I knew it, while my brothers were out looking for the car I falsely described, Runyon's father-in-law took my mother to the side and paid her a cool, crisp $75,000 for me not to implicate Runyon in the attack. It could and would be a scandal to Denton's platform. And if his daughter found out what happened, it would look bad on Runyon, who worked closely with his father-in-law. Just as long as I kept quiet, the money was ours. No questions asked. I watched Mama's eyes light up when she saw that stack. 75 bands. And just like that, my pain had a price tag. My trauma got sold to the highest bidder, and Mama was the auctioneer. Carrie and Clark came back empty-handed, talking about they couldn't find the car I described. Of course they couldn't, I lied about it. But by then, the deal was done. Mama had the money tucked in her purse and Runyon and his father-in-law were ghost. The ride home was quiet. Mama kept looking back at me from the front seat, asking if I was okay. I just nodded. What else was I supposed to say? That she just traded my dignity for a down payment on a better life? When we got home, Mama told Daddy I got jumped outside the club. Said some random dudes tried to rob me. Daddy was heated, talking about calling the police, but Mama convinced him it was better to just let it go. Said the trauma was enough without dragging it out with investigations and court dates. A week later, Mama told me I needed to go somewhere to heal. She said it like it was a spa vacation, but really she was shipping me off to Pinehaven Behavioral Health Center, a mental institution about 2 hours away from home. It's just for a little while, baby, she said, packing my bags like we was going on a trip. You need time to process what happened. The doctors there will help you. Help me? Or help her keep me quiet? I stayed at Pinehaven for 32 days. Therapy sessions where I couldn't tell the truth about what really happened. Group meetings with other girls who actually had mental health issues while I sat there knowing I was only there to keep my mouth shut. Medication I didn't need but took anyway because it was easier than fighting. When I finally came home, Daddy hugged me tight and told me how proud he was that I was being so strong. Carrie and Clark treated me like I was fragile, like I might break if they said the wrong thing. And Mama? She smiled at me across the dinner table like everything was normal. Like she hadn't sold me out for $75,000. But the worst part? The absolute worst part was seeing what Mama did with that money. She paid off some bills, put a new roof on the house, bought Daddy a better wheelchair. And she put the rest in a savings account for our future, she said. Blood money. That's what it was. And every time I saw Mama spend $1 of it, I felt sick. But I kept quiet. Just like they paid me to. Dottie never understood why I got so distant after that trip. She was too caught up in her new man, too busy sneaking out to meet Alan, too in love with the fantasy he was selling her. And honestly, I was jealous. She got to be happy while I was drowning. She got the romance while I got the assault and the payoff. I never told her the truth about Runyon or the money. What was the point? She wouldn't have understood anyway. She would have told me I should be grateful we got paid, that at least something good came out of it. But there's nothing good about being violated, and then having your own mama put a price on your pain. Now here we are, almost a year later. Dottie's pregnant and abandoned, Marilyn's still at Mary's place making her money, and I'm sitting in this big house that blood money paid for, trying to figure out who I am now. They say everything happens for a reason. They say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But nobody tells you what to do when your own family is the one who broke you. Nobody gives you a manual for how to forgive your mama for choosing money over justice. So I just exist. Go through the motions. Smile when I'm supposed to smile. And late at night, when everybody's asleep, I count the cost of my silence and wonder if $75,000 was really worth what it cost me. Chapter 2. Dottie. Reality check before welfare check. My water broke on a Tuesday. I was at the front desk, checking in an older white couple who kept asking if the room had a microwave, when I felt the warm gush between my legs. At first I thought I pissed myself, but then the cramping started, sharp and low, like somebody was squeezing my insides with pliers. Oh shit, I whispered, gripping the counter. The woman looked at me with wide eyes. Honey, are you? My water just broke. I said it out loud, and suddenly everything felt real. Too real. Renee came running from the back office, took one look at me, and started barking orders. Keisha, call 911. Tanisha, get some towels. Dottie, baby, sit down before you fall down. But I couldn't sit. I couldn't move. All I could think was, I'm about to have this baby. Alone. In a motel. At 17. The ambulance came quick. The EMTs, a black woman with locks and a young Latino guy, loaded me onto the stretcher while Renee held my hand and told me everything was gonna be okay. You want us to call your mama? She asked.